Hey everybody, it's Christian from Triple C Humanity Games. So, on today's comic book issue of the day, we're going to go over one of my cartoon favorites from the 1990s. And you may have known this show if you were about mid to late 30s, early 40s. You definitely know this show. Gargoyles, right? So this is actually, I believe, the second or third volume of Gargoyles. This came out in 2022. The thing that I found was very interesting is other than the book being beautiful, this is cover 1A, so it's a very, very beautiful, nice, stylish book. This is actually a key factor, a key issue, because it's the first issue of Dynamite producing the Gargoyles series. So you'll see here, Dynamite, right? I'm not sure who was prior to, I'll look up in a second here, but you see Goliath here in the front, you see his sister and everybody else that's in here. I didn't remember this many Gargoyles being in the original crew. So maybe when they redid the video, or when they redid the series, they added some more characters into it. But it was pretty cool to read about Goliath and his crew and what's happening in the city and that kind of stuff, right? It kind of goes over a little bit about the, not necessarily the origin, but names. The book names many, if not all, of the team. It goes into how they have to recharge in the daytime when the sun comes out, and a potential enemy in the book. Additionally, it talks about a mutant, semi-mutant. So there's two mutants essentially. One that ends up being like a panther / cat called, I believe his name, Talon, and there's another one that is a cat. I believe it's his girlfriend who ends up having a baby in the book, in the movie, or in the comp. So pretty interesting story. They do reference Batman, or the what they call him, they didn't really say Batman, but they reference Batman in here. Maybe that's just kind of say, hey, this is like a Gotham style, city they're protecting. But anyways, it was a really good book. I actually really enjoyed the writing. Brief, wasn't over the top, wasn't like too long and in depth. Sometimes the comic, the little plots here are just so lengthy, and they don't really account to anything. They're just substance, right? Just basic substance. At least here, all the wording and everything that was spoken about added to the context of the comic, and then going into the next book. Now, with this series, there are 12 total issues in this series. It's definitely worth reading. I know part of me wants to go back and see if when I get back to the States here in June, to go look for some more of these Gargoyle books from 2022. But really what comes down to is I want to go find the original one. And I believe the original one, let me see here real quick, is from 1993, I think. No, 95, okay? So they had one in 95, one in 96. So 95 was Marvel, 2006 was SLG, and then 2020 was a different style of Gargoyles. And then Dynamite has 2022, and then 2024, 2025 are the series it has. So I think this is volume 2, if I'm mistaken. So like I said, the original book had about 10, 11 copies. This one only had 12. There really isn't that many books out there. I was thinking there's gonna be a lot more books in the Gargoyles series than what there actually is. There's only like 75 total issues across 14 different series. So not a lot. And many of these series are like one-shot, 1 to 3 shot books. So nothing crazy in existence, So, but anyways, take a look at this here. Again, this is really nice. That background is really beautiful looking. The yellow gargoyles just really stands out. And then there are actually 70 different covers for this book. 70. I couldn't believe that. When I started looking at it, I was like, wow, that's incredible. The cool thing about it was that in the back of this book, the last 3 or 4 pages, they actually displayed, I would say, 50 plus covers. So you can see in the book all the covers that are potentially created, whether they are store exclusive, Comic-Con editions, 125, 150, and so on and so on, right? So it was really cool to see that, because there's a few of these that I was like, man, that looks like a really cool book. So I might track some down. Now that I've read this book, you know, I've been kind of reading a lot lately, and this is the 24th or 25th book I've read in the last month and a half. I definitely gonna make it my goal to prioritize grading some of my books. Now, many of you out there in the comic book industry are kind of against grading comic books, and I get it. Once it's graded, you can't really read the book, right? But I think that there are some books that are definitely worth being graded, and that's even dependent the grade. Like, even though the grade may come back a 7 or 8, it still might be worth grading a book because it's significant to you. Maybe it's older, you want to preserve the pages in that book, or maybe you just know, hey, this is a great book, you want to keep it forever, you know, or maybe the resale value in a few years is good to go. So, even though I'm a ASM collector, Wolverine, X-Men, and so on and so on, I'm probably not going to grade any of those, but I definitely will be grading some of my #1 issues, like my Dragon Ball, my Dragon Ball Z, my Diablo, and so on and so on. The comics that I don't have, maybe I'm not going to read like 50 of them, you know, but I may grade some significant issues, so that's something to think about, for me anyways. So I'm going to gather that up, kind of save a little bit extra money over the summer, and then maybe submit some books to CDC or CBCS for some of my signed books I have and get them graded, just so I got them for display or just to store them for long term. I'm not very old. I'm 39. Definitely really my young ages, but I think, you know, for my kids, which are Hunter and Eli, are only 9 and 11, almost 9, 10 and 12. You know, I would like to pass these down to them in a few years. And so part of me says keep some ungraded and keep some graded, you know. I think that's the key for me is, you know, if I find something I want to keep graded, great. Like right now I'm in the search of Swamp Thing #1 from 1973, I think it is. I want to buy an 8.5 or greater, and they're quite expensive. And lately I've been finding 6.5s and graded. So for me, I might just pass something like that, right? But who knows? You know, that's a book I want to read with my kids. Right now we've been reading some of the Teenage TMNT books. They like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. They're real big into some of the other comic book, the video game comic books as well. So just us talking back and forth about them, they really enjoy that kind of stuff. But anyways, let me know what you think. Would you consider reading Gargoyles? Do you remember this book, this comic book from the 90s? It's a great series. I really enjoyed this first book, so I'm definitely going to recommend reading more of them. And the artwork was absolutely fantastic. It just reminded me so much of more of an advanced stage of the cartoon series from back in the 90s. So highly recommend checking it out. Anyways, let me know what you think. Like that like button, subscribe. Oh, and we're on our way to 70. We're almost at 70 subscribers. We're like 60, 68 now. So help us out. Right, Kristen out.